I know that we've gone over order of operations. You've been doing order of operations since like elementary school. And I know that you learned it as PEMDAS. And if you were in my class a couple years ago, you remember maybe me talking about how I don't like PEMDAS because it implies a couple things. One, it implies that multiplication is more important than division, which it is not. It also implies that addition is more important than subtraction, which it is not. And it also implies that parentheses are the only kind of grouping symbols that exist, which is also is not true. So if you want to take a picture of this, you can, that would probably be helpful just as a refresher. I want to talk about why, one, I call it GEMDAS, because G for grouping symbols. Okay.
Pictures are a lot easier taking the lines off.
Okay. Okay. So let me just go through this real quick, and then I'm going to turn you loose on a problem, and off you go. Okay. So grouping symbols. Notice in here they talk about lots of things. Parentheses are one of them, of course, but there's all kinds of other grouping symbols. Absolute value is a grouping symbol. You do what's inside of those first. A fraction bar separates the top from the bottom, so it groups the top together, it groups the bottom together. Radicals are grouping symbols. Okay, we've already looked at braces in set notation. There are brackets. So there's lots of different grouping symbols that tell you, simplify me first. Right? Then exponents are after that. Then the key with both of these, this is why, like I was saying, multiplication is not more important than division. It's whichever one comes first from left to right. So whenever you see those, social media math questions and, there's a bazillion comments and people have different answers, that people just are making up their own rules. These are the rules. These are the rules. These are the way to follow it. There's not more than one right answer. You have to follow these rules. And if you follow those rules, you will get the right answer, okay? So with that being said, in your homework today, I know that you can, type everything straight into a calculator. It'll give you an answer. I know you can take a picture of the problem and put it in Mathway, and it'll give you the answer. But this assignment, I want to be really clear. No work, no credit, period. Okay, so don't just be giving answers. Here's the problem that we're going to do. If you want to write it down, if you want to take a picture of it, you can. But I want you to work step by step. Now, the reason there's so much white space under here is there's a bunch of lines, one line at a time, that I went through and did this problem. And so the one thing that I didn't mention that was on the last slide was with the grouping symbols, you always work from the inside out when there's multiple grouping symbols like we have here. We've got parentheses, we got braces, we got brackets, we got radicals. So you got to work your way, go as far in as you can, and then work your way out until you've eliminated or simplified to the point where there are no more grouping symbols left. Okay? Okay, I heard a 27. Is there anything else?
I'm rocking 27.
I don't think I'll have
Ooh. Which one would you choose?
27.
27 or 140?
I got neither.
27. How many of you agree with 27? Does anybody agree with 27? Oh, there's a bunch of you. Good. How about 140? Anybody agree with that? Anybody have something else they'd like to pitch? All right. So let's talk about the first thing that we should be doing here, okay? So because I have multiple grouping symbols, I have braces, I have brackets, I have parentheses. I want to go into the parentheses because that's the furthest one in. And then inside of the parentheses, I have a grouping symbol, this radical. So the first thing you should do is the square root of 64. That is the first thing you should do. And that is 8. Yes, very good. Okay, that is 8. Now, I'm still inside these parentheses, so my next move is 5 minus 8, which is what? What is 5 minus 8? Negative 3. Okay, that's my next move. Now, I'm inside the brackets. Even though there's parentheses here, there's nothing to do. That's just indicating that it's a negative. You can't simplify negative 3 anymore. So inside these brackets, the next thing that has to happen is the power. So really I have 2 minus 9 here. Okay. Now I can finish off these parentheses here, 2 minus 9, which actually those should all be brackets. Huh, interesting. This really should be a brace and a bracket and a bracket and a brace. I don't know why they changed them. Interesting. Oh well, what they did, it's fine. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. Okay. Now I have inside these brackets, which should actually be braces, you got 8 plus 4 times negative 7. Now, all the time, people will make this mistake. I will see this. I will see them go 12 times negative 7. You can't add before you multiply. Multiplication is more important. So now I've got to do 4 times negative 7, which is negative 28. And then 8 minus 28. Now I can do that, which is negative 20. 7 minus negative 20 is 7 plus 20, which is 27. Very good, class. Well done. Okay? Raise your hand again. How many got that? All right, good. So, when you get to your homework today, in the directions of the homework, I said no work, no credit. I'm talking about problems like this. There are certainly ones you can do in your head. This problem, you can try to do in your head, but I don't want you to try. I want you to write it all down. The chances of success are much more likely if you write it all down. The other thing I want you to notice here is that I worked my way down. Please work your way down instead of working your way across. Everything should sort of funnel to the answer. In fact, there really even shouldn't be these equal signs here. There is no equation. This is all just an expression. Those shouldn't be there, okay? Like I said, you've done this many times in your life, and you're going to do it many times today.
75 through 121.
Now, on some of these problems, you could have combined a couple of the steps together, sure, but try to minimize that. Try to slow down a little bit, I guess. But some of the things you wouldn't necessarily have to show every single thing for. Like maybe you could have done 5 minus the square root of 64 in your head and squared that and jumped from here to, say, here. That would be okay.